Hello, homeschool friends. Sabrina here from SevenSistersHomeschool.com. How's everybody doing? How's your summer going? I know that mine has been very busy, but very good. Lots and lots of people time and lots of road tripping. My husband and I have been traveling a lot this summer, and that's been really cool. We were driving through Kansas last week, and it was 109 degrees on I-70. I've never seen my car thermometer register 109 before, so that was new for me. I know some of you live in parts of the country where that is very normal. It was not normal for me. So I felt like I was experiencing something very strange, and I didn't quite fit in to that whole triple digit temperature thing. Yeah, so segue, not fitting in. Let's talk a little bit about the idea of fitting in and understanding other people and other people understanding you, and how this has anything to do with homeschooling high school. Actually, even homeschooling younger kids than that. This is a really tough world to live in. There's a lot of different kinds of people. I don't know if you've noticed, but not everybody is exactly like you. And the last couple of years, it seems like all of that has been even more obvious than ever before, and in some ways more challenging than ever before. And this is the world that our teens and tweens are observing and experiencing and trying to make sense of. So when we think about their homeschool curriculum, we need to think beyond academics. And this would not be the first time you've ever heard me express this opinion. If you have been a part of the Seven Sisters homeschool community for any length of time, you have heard us talk about character development. You've heard us talk about critical thinking skills. And we're going to talk about it just a little bit more. And I'm going to give you a quick glimpse into easy ways to weave these important areas of learning into your academics. Okay? So first of all, you can just straight up come to understand by teaching philosophy and the fact that ideas shape the world, and that it's actually philosophers who end up really changing the course of people groups. It's just usually about a generation after their lifetime. So it takes a while for those ideas to change the conversation, to change politics, to change business, to change society's ways of going about things. But ideas are really the source of change in our society, and our teens and tweens need to understand that. So actually offering them curriculum in philosophy is a great idea when they're in high school. Seven Sisters has a couple of resources for you. One is Philosophy in 4 Questions by Dr. Micah Tillman. It was my youngest son's probably favorite course in high school. It's written in a really fun, conversational, witty style. Micah is very funny. But it introduces some very big ideas, and it helps teens really get a feel for the power of ideas and words and conversation and questions. In addition, we have a history curriculum that is the history and philosophy of the Western world. And it's a world history course, but it is presented not through timelines so much as through ideas. Okay? So the ideas that have shaped the world that we live in now, history and philosophy of the Western world. But there are also other pieces to this understanding the world we live in. And some of that is understanding how varied people are. And the fact that everybody's not exactly like you, actually, or even like your family, or even like the community you grew up in, or even like the town you grew up in, right? Human Development from Christian Worldview is an elective title that you can find at SevenSistersHomeschool.com. And it looks at the stages of human development from womb to old age. And it helps teens understand that some of the things that are different about other people are unique to their personality, but some of the things that are different about other people have to do with their stage of human development. And it's a super practical course. It really gives teens who tend to be very self-focused, not in like a selfish way, but in like a that's the stage of development that they're in. They're trying to figure out who they are and where they fit in the universe. and what the rest of their life is going to be like. And so because of that, they think about themselves a lot. They're trying to get to know themselves. But when you give them the opportunity to study human development and to earn academic credit for it as an elective social sciences course, you are opening that section of their brain that's going to help them really notice the stages that other people are in, and to be able to accept and respect people where they are. So in the same way that they notice that toddlers say no all the time, they can come to understand that that's not just because toddlers are inherently negative, but it's that toddlers are at a stage of development where they are learning the power of no and learning the fact that they can decide not to go along with something. And they're beginning to see themselves as separate from their parent rather than an extension of. That kind of stuff, it can help them understand their own impulsivity, their own emotional instability that sometimes comes along with the teen years and tween years. Pardon me. So it can give them a greater sense of validation, confidence that this is a stage, this is a phase, and it's an appropriate one. And it can help them understand their friends and have grace for them when maybe things are a little bumpy in relationships with their peers. It can help them understand their grandparents and the changes that are going through there, and why their grandparents want to tell stories from 60 years ago all the time. And that's not that they're being socially awkward or insensitive to others. It's that they are working through things that are deeply important for them in that stage of human development. Okay, so all of this, I'm going into too much detail because I happen to love that topic, and I think that was a really powerful course for my kids in high school. But helping our teens and tweens come to understand that people are different than they are, not just because of personality, but also because we are all in a growing process. And there are different stages along the way that are fairly easy to identify. It's a really empowering tool for relationships for our kids. Additionally, we want them to notice people in the literature that they read. We assign great books, and those books expand their vocabulary and teach them all kinds of literary devices. And I'm like the word nerd. You know, I've written a whole bunch of the literature study guides for Seven Sisters, so obviously I love the analysis part. But I try to always include in our study guides some analysis of the characters and their motivations and their relationships. If teens are encouraged to consider what might be motivating the character in a story that they're reading, then they're going to be that much more practiced in noticing the motivation in real people all around them. They're going to be accustomed to asking, I wonder why they're doing that. I wonder what might have made them react so strongly to that. Those kinds of questions, those are life skills, and those are absolutely necessary in a world where they are going to be constantly bombarded with information and news through the internet. I'm sure you've noticed that everyone is supposed to have an opinion on everything now, instantly. The moment that something happens in the world and it gets put out onto the news, you are supposed to automatically, instantly have enough information in your head that you have formed an opinion on this event. It's a lot of pressure. I'm feeling it, and I am not a teenager. I can only imagine that our teens are feeling this weight of, I'm supposed to evaluate things very quickly, and I'm supposed to evaluate everything, and I'm supposed to reach some kind of a conclusion. How do I do that? Critical thinking skills. Understanding basic questions to ask that are going to help you weed out things that are just somebody spouting off and there's no real substance there, to question and explore possible motivations, to see connections between some people and some ideas and other people, to sort of connect the dots. Critical thinking skills allow us to connect the dots and to make greater sense of a world that is very, very complicated. So these kinds of things can be woven into our teens' academics. We can do standalone courses like a philosophy course. We can explore human behavior and attitudes and growth in something like a social science, like human development, or even Seven Sisters High School Health for the Whole Person. It handles all of the traditional physical elements of a health curriculum, but it also digs into mental and spiritual and emotional relational health as well as physical health. So offering them things that, excuse me, that make it possible for them to learn how humans grow and develop is going to help. And then finally, even within their literature study, to use those books and those stories and characters as an opportunity to practice the kinds of critical thinking skills that are going to come in to play probably every day for their adult lives. They're going to be encountering people, and they're going to be needing to know how to think and understand what might be going on below the surface, and not just comprehend the obvious stuff. Oh, well, they said this. But to think about maybe why did they say that, and how might my response be misinterpreted, or how might it be interpreted well? All of that kind of stuff. You can actually practice that using fictional characters in the literature that you're reading in high school. So that's my encouragement to you today as you are choosing your curriculum for next year, or if you've already got your curriculum and you're preparing your lesson plans and your syllabus. Keep in mind, how can I help my teen learn to understand the people that are all around them, to understand the unfamiliar kinds of people and people groups that I'm going to encounter? And what kinds of questions could I ask myself and others that can help me make sense of all of it? So whether it's 109 degrees where you are, or whether it's something much more comfortable than that, I hope the rest of your day and your week is wonderful. And if you have questions about any of the Seven Sisters titles that I mentioned today, please feel free to reach out to info@sevensistershomeschool.com, or better yet, ask a question here on the Facebook group, because then you're going to get lots of input from others of our homeschooling sisters and brothers who have used those titles and who can give you their opinions. All right? We all do well when we learn from one another, so let's share our stories and our homeschool adventures. Have a great day, guys. Thanks for being here. Bye.